Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell so you know when we got another one brewing. This week's feature is going to be Ghostbusters.
Fucking Ghostbusters. This is probably the third time that I've seen this movie in my lifetime, which I know is probably considerably a lower amount than either of you have, but still a good time.
I like how the first thing that came out of you was just like, I know I didn't see it that many times. I know you guys gatekeep like crazy, but please let me stay on the cast.
One of you is a gatekeeper.
I am the keymaster. They will call me motherfucking Rick Moranis for life.
Man, Rick Moranis, may he rest in peace. He's not dead. I just hope he's rested enough. He deserves it. He took one
He's
for
chilling.
the team.
He's a really good part of this movie.
Yeah, this is actually one of the biggest strengths in the movie. Well, not just Rick Moranis, but the cast. Like, it doesn't matter how ridiculous things get. Like, everybody is just like solid.
I'll be honest, a lot of the things that I remember from Rick Moranis, I thought was actually in this movie, but are, I guess, in Ghostbusters 2. He's in that, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, which, ladies and gentlemen listening, if you haven't listened to it, once you listen to this, go back and listen to our Ghostbusters 2 cast.
Yeah, make sure you compare and contrast. That was like 2.5 years ago.
Oof.
This cast almost has that Wes Anderson feel to me. Like, everyone's filling their own little role in their own certain way, and each person feels like they has their own little movie going on.
Well, you do have Bill Murray et al., so, like, that's all you need. You got Bill Murray and whoever else you want.
Yeah, okay. I get that. But guys, this is Ghostbusters. This is a movie that means a lot to a lot of people. But when you watch this again, like, what about this movie makes it feel like this is a movie that could be meaningful to a lot of people?
To me, it was the John Woo doves. There are several scenes with these birds just flying loose to do what he does. A tender moment to usher in a scene of chaos. Just the dove.
I
thought it
think
was
in
just
New York City, they're just pigeons.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I thought like New York is just full of dirty birds, and they just run into them.
Hell
They-
yeah.
Ones they could afford, all right?
Yeah. But for me, the thing that I would say is most obvious, the reason that people attach themselves so much to this is it's just so damn rewatchable. Every scene has something in it that's like fun or interesting. There's a little quote, a little quip. It may not be my favorite movie in the world, but it's super rewatchable. Like, I could watch this, any day.
I agree with both of those, the pigeons and the rewatchability. I mean, I think it's great. And I think the reason why I love it so much is just because there's no arc in this movie. None of the characters are any better or worse by the end of this movie. But for some reason, we all love these people.
I think Bill Murray's probably a little bit better because at least he's getting some of that pussy.
I mean,
Right?
I guess. Did you see that quote unquote kiss at the end? I mean, half
Oh
of
my
them wanted it. You know?
Worst kiss. I took a note on that. It's like the worst kiss ever. Bill Murray is going in. She's like, fuck. Kiss.
Yeah.
And then it just looks terrible.
They just left it in.
I'll be honest, I didn't even pay attention. At that point, I was just like scribbling down my final notes. I was like, all right, movie over.
They hold on a little too long too. Then they finally realize, oh wait a minute, quick cut to Rick Moranis being silly in the background.
Oh, one of them likes this, the other one doesn't. It's the 80s, it'll be okay.
Oh man, that actually happens. Not only that one, but a couple more times, kind of sprinkled in, and you're just like, all right.
Are you talking about that scene where she's kind of possessed and in the bed?
No, actually, you know what? Bill
No?
Murray does a really great job of being like, all right, this is kind of serious. I'm gonna have to just do something about it.
Yeah,
Like, I really want to do something, but there is a camera on me right now. I'll just give you a little kiss and say goodnight.
No, I don't think it was that critical, but like, there's definitely like the first scene, like with Dana and Peter in her apartment, super cringe.
Yeah, but see, whenever she
yeah.
I think it shows that it's all been in good fun because deep down, even though he's doing these goofy things, he's a gentleman.
Yeah, like he comes off as a dirtbag because he's extremely sarcastic, but like all of his priorities are in check, if that makes sense.
I guess. So before we get too deep into this, who are these characters? We've talked a lot about Bill Murray's character, Venkman. We've also got Dan Aykroyd, Ray. I don't know, he's just Ray. Okay, Ray. And the third one is Harold Ramis as Egon. Those are your big three right there. And once we get going, there's actually quite a few more known characters. We already mentioned Rick Moranis. We mentioned Dana, played by Sigourney Weaver. There's all kinds of names in this.
Carl Winslow's in here.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He's the cop that lets him out of the jail, like 2/3 way through the movie. And he's just playing the same character he does in Die Hard. He's just fucking Carl Winslow, man.
Yeah, there's also a lot of just like guys where you're like, oh, I've seen that guy before playing a similar role as what he's doing now, just in something else. Like, I don't know, the manager of the hotel. Like, I've seen that guy before. I want to say he's in like Trading Places or Coming to America or one of those. I can't verify that, but I've seen him before.
Yeah, you get that. There's like a lot of bleed over in 80s comedies. Like everybody's just like had the same family. Actually, I think most of them are just like either SNL or Second City alumni at that point.
Oh yeah, you'd have to be.
The 80s were just way ahead of the time. They all had their own cinematic universe already going on.
Oh shit. It actually would have gotten a little tighter too, because Winston Zedmore, that was actually supposed to be Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah. Why wasn't it? Did he have something else going on at the time? I feel like the mid 80s was just like his time to shine.
He had a party. You know, he had a party all the time.
Oh.
That party was he said no to this so he could do Beverly Hills Cop.
I guess. Man,
it's good. I like Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop was good, and it would have, been centered on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
probably too young for it.
Eric, whenever this podcast started, I had told you I had some production questions, and they all involve our good friend, Mr. Winston Zeddemore. Why does he show up so late in the film? Number one. Number two, why do they hire him instantly, and why does he act like he doesn't want the job? At this point, they're already famous.
Yeah.
The third one is, why does he keep fucking disappearing?
The answer to all these questions is, unfortunately, all due respect to Ernie Hudson. He's a great actor. I've seen him on stage, plenty of movies. Seems like a swell guy in interviews and stuff. His entire character is just a remnant of the Eddie Murphy version of this movie. Like, his character is just like what's left of basically writing out him.
So, am I to believe that this character was actually written as if the dialogue that he is saying was intended to come out of Eddie Murphy's mouth?
I think it was just whatever's left, because like the movie just goes ahead and leans on Bill Murray as the comic relief.
Instead of filling that spot, they could have just left him out completely, and I think the finished product would have even been stronger.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I know I'm probably going to get shit for like, oh, Ernie Hudson's great. Like, I'm not saying he's not good in this movie, and I'm not saying he doesn't have incredibly iconic lines in this movie, but he doesn't service the plot any. He doesn't do anything for the characters, really, except for, like, being the reason why Ray isn't, like, around the apartment when all that shit's happening. Like, he shows up the latest.
I don't know. I think there's something to be said about having, like, a foil within the team. And he's not a total foil, but he's sort of just like the straight man who... He's not a scientist. He's just walking into this. This is his job, his 9 to 5. Just like, man, I just want to get off and like go home, have a steak, watch Jeopardy. He's just like that kind of guy. He's not into it for life.
No,
he's
I
into
get
it for the paycheck.
No, and that's totally cool. But like, either not do it or give him more to do. That's like my only serious critique about this movie. Is like his character is so kind of thrown in there.
It's kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Because that's where my idea for all these questions came up. Is these three guys all seem so important, and I'm sure had the role been larger, he could have fleshed it out a bit. He could have fleshed it out a bit more. But with what he's given and in the time he's on stage, he has made a considerate impact on the franchise and whatnot. But I just think in this film, Ghostbusters 2, he's awesome. I love him in there. But in the first one, it's just so bare minimum that you end up, why is he there?
And I have to keep saying, like, unfortunately, but like that is the case. Like, this guy is a Ghostbuster, but he gets the same amount of screen time as their secretary.
Exactly. Why is one of the main characters cast off? It feels very weird.
Yeah.
Well, we do start out with a big three. There's a core unit of three, as we mentioned: Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. They play scientists, like they actually have like a grant going on at a university. They have real university jobs. And in addition to that, Bill Murray is what is he?
He's a psychologist and parapsychologist.
Okay, yeah.
You were looking for is Pussy Hound.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That too. But he's got like a side gig of like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like his side hustle is so, I don't know. It's just a great way just to introduce his character. Just like this guy is just like, he's sarcastic, a little bit of a dirtbag. But, you know, he's not a bad guy.
He's like 60% guy that I'd like to hang out with, 40% absolute con man.
Yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, he fucking conned his best friend into adding a third mortgage onto his house so this whole movie could happen.
Oh, yeah.
$95,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 95,000 Reagan dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 1984.
So in today's money, that would be about $260,000.
We did the math. Wait, is that real? It seems like it would be way more than that, honestly.
No, I actually did it just before the cast. I was just like, I'm curious.
Okay. Yeah, but think about the home value going from 1984 to 2021. Like the value of that home that was mortgaged is probably like quintupled.
True. Man, the housing market's so fucking bad.
Yeah. But
this was the housing market by Beards and Brews.
Yeah.
We get introduced to the plight of the Ghostbusters in this very cute little vignette of number one, a librarian walking around. Number two, a ghost that hates organization. And it all culminates in her being exposed to the light from the Ark.
You know, like these ghosts go back a long time. This particular ghost had a real big beef with Dewey of the Dewey Decimal System and just wanted to fuck that all up.
For a second, I thought you meant like Officer Dewey. I was like,
That's
Well, there's a reason he was cleaning his room.
Oh no!
This was
slime everywhere. I don't know. It's just like super simple. And it's like, hey, this is a movie called Ghostbusters. In the first 10 minutes, we're going to show you a ghost.
Yeah.
Just easy, you know, almost textbook.
And you get to see all the ectoplasmic residue that's left over this everything, the card catalog and whatnot. It's just, it has you asking questions like, what exactly is this? I'm curious.
Yeah. And I know how like we went over like, you know, Winston being the straight man, but like Bill Murray as Venkman, he says the exact same stuff. Like they go to the library and like he's like, okay, you got to collect all these samples. Then he's in charge of scooping up some fucking goop. And he's just like, oh, somebody blows their nose and you just want to take a sample of it? And like, it gets all over his fucking hand and he's just like wiping all over the fucking walls and shit. He's like, hey, just get it off me.
Yeah, I mean, it's already all over everything anyway. But who is it? Harold Ramis, who's like, yeah, give me a sample of that. Huh.
And can we just briefly talk about Egon's line delivery? Like, it's just extremely matter of fact and it's just gold every time.
He is the most matter-of-fact, like, science, pure science guy, one of them. Like, you've got Bill Murray on the complete other end. He's the rock star. And Dan Aykroyd is kind of like somewhere in between the two, the balancing act.
Yeah.
That's what I think makes this work so well. You have Harold Ramis basically portraying a more approachable Ben Stein than Dan Aykroyd, who is clearly, like, visibly excited about the source material. He's having a ball. And then you have Bill Murray, and Chandler, you said it perfectly. He's just being a rock star.
Yeah.
And the dynamic that they have of these three guys on screen is wonderful.
I like how you brought up Dan Aykroyd being really excited about the source material and just like his, well, we won't get into his like alien and ghost shit, but like
His crystal vodka.
I am destined to try it, but it's fucking expensive. But like watching this movie again with a little bit more scrutiny, like I kind of got the feeling that Bill Murray either didn't know what was happening or didn't really give a shit. A lot of the time, he's just like, I'm here to be Bill Murray, man. Fist bump.
Yeah, I can see that. This was written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, is that right?
Correct.
Wow, good job, guys.
No, I would chalk this movie totally up to director Ivan Reitman because the original script for Ghostbusters was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, really?
It was just like full bore, like, paranormal investigation, almost akin to like Ghost Hunters, and just like being like just absolute tripe. Like somewhere Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman found a movie in this giant mess.
I don't know why my brain went straight to Luigi's Mansion. I just want Bill Murray to play Luigi.
Now, this is the first time that we also get to see some of the gadgets. Like Egon has his little PKE meter, and it's got its flashy little lights. And man, oh man, if they didn't turn that thing into something you could buy the next fucking day.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, just put the fucking logo on anything. Kids will buy it up. Myself included.
Yeah, I remember, actually, I had a good bit of Ghostbusters merchandise despite having not seen this movie until probably like 10 years ago. But I'm pretty sure a lot of the merchandise that I had was actually branded the real Ghostbusters, like the animated cartoon series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably in a minority, but I fucking hate that show.
I was a fan. I watched the whole fucking run of it. I had the toys. I bought the Ecto coolers. I had the Ecto one. They got me.
I had the Ecto one for sure. I don't really remember it all that well. Like I remember it coming on Saturday morning cartoons, either right before or right after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I just don't hardly remember any of it. I know I've seen it.
Yeah, so you got nostalgia on your side. Like I found all this stuff like way later, like in the adulthood, and like I try to go back and watch this stuff. I'm like, why the fuck is Garfield Venkman?
And
Wait.
Bill Murray is Garfield.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I don't know. It's not my flavor, but this movie totally is.
All right, so as we mentioned, Bill Murray, I need to learn their real names. So as we mentioned, Venkman convinces Ray to take out a mortgage so they can, get startup money, really. Turn this into a real thing. They get fired from their job at the university. They've had enough. So they take this money, they build all these things, these machines, the backpacks, the little wands, the little sensors. They rent out an old abandoned fucking firehouse. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how this entire thing is just because of just a bunch of college blokes just being like, fuck it, let's just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
I really liked the idea that they were in there trying to talk her down. Oh, we're going to need new wiring. We're going to need new reinforcements. We're going to need new this, new that. And then Ray fucking blows it by, you guys seen the goddamn fucking fireman's phone?
Yeah.
Now he comes out with, does this still work? And slides down it like it's a pole. How is it? There's not an on and off switch.
And it's his fucking money too, and he's just like, we should sleep here tonight. Try it out. And they're all just like, so who do I make the check to?
Yes. He's having a fucking sleepover. Dan Aykroyd fucking nails this. He's just like this overly giddy child, and it creates a small sense of whimsy. It makes it fun, and it really pays off in the end whenever his character ends up conjuring up destruction itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The next thing that we run into our other two like secondary main characters, as we mentioned, Sigourney Weaver as Dana. She's got some spooky shit happening in her apartment, and then she's got a neighbor, Lewis, played by Rick Moranis, who is, how do we describe him?
Well, you can kind of explain him in the most 80s way possible.
Nerd! Yeah, he's a nerd, definitely a nerd. I looked this up because he looks really short in this movie. He is dwarfed by everyone around him, including Sigourney Weaver. He is 5'6".
Well, I mean, it's just like everybody in this movie is just gargantuan. Like even Sigourney Weaver's like 6'2", 6'1" or something.
Is she really?
Yeah, everybody's like
Damn.
6 foot or more.
Okay.
So, did any of you guys get freaked out? Like, there's a lot of sexual undertone in this movie. So you have Reaper Lewis, and he's like, well, I'll go away. And she goes in her house, and she's putting all her groceries away, and we get little signs of paranormal activity.
The chair moved.
Yeah.
When she's putting away the groceries, this is a scene like the first little thing that we see, or the first thing that I noticed was like her egg carton flips open, and then you start hearing something. The eggs just start like bursting open by themselves.
It's this really cool thing where it's absurd, but it's also subtle, because like they don't go out of the gate like ghosts, and you're just like, oh no. It's just like these little things like, got them dang old poultry guys in here, huh?
A poultry geist because they're chicken eggs.
Look at that. That's a good pun.
Yeah, and this is also where she opens up the fridge to see a portal to, I don't know, I can't explain this, another dimension, and we see Zool, I guess some kind of a god, something.
Yeah, no Coca-Cola, only Zool. And of course she gets freaked out. And she doesn't know what to do, but fortunately, these fellas uptown have put together this little paranormal exterminator thing, and that's who she gets a hold of.
Fortunately, those guys have spent their last money on fucking TV commercials. Because otherwise, I don't know what she would have done.
That commercial is so good, though, because you can definitely tell who's on board and who's not. It's just Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have really liked to be able to splicey in the bit from Beetlejuice where he's like, "Come on down, I'll chew on a dog." Like if they would have had a commercial similar to that.
Same energy, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Ghostbusters are just on like a spending spree. They bought the car. Is that the Ecto one?
Yeah, eventually.
alright.
Like when he buys it, it's just like a legitimate piece of shit. It's just like this old 59 millimeter Cadillac. It needs everything done to it. Like I
It
don't know how
looks
much
like-
he spent on it. I think he said it in the movie, but I forgot. But like he totally overpaid for it.
It looks somewhere between like an old ambulance and a hearse, but they got a receptionist who is a human being, and
She's the best though. She's like no nonsense.
Ghostbusters.
I don't
what
know.
do you want?
I think I like her more in the second one.
I don't know. In the second one, she's so cartoony. Like in the
Yeah.
second one, you can definitely tell like, oh man, that fucking cartoon's real popular, and the kids want to see this shit. So better make a connection.
100%. Good call.
Yeah, like the real Ghostbusters came out between 1 and 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was back in the day. Where like, hey, we got this R-rated action movie. You know what we should do? Make a kids cartoon about it.
Hell yeah. Isn't that what they did with Police Academy too? It was an R-rated,
Oh, fuck, they did. They did the
not an action
Rambo,
movie, but yeah,
and all kinds of shit. RoboCop.
yeah. There was a RoboCop animated series. Yeah. The only reason I know that exists is because they had action figures for it everywhere.
Oh man, can't wait to go to school and break out my Mahoney action figure.
Oh, you gotta get the guy that's like, whoop, 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 whoop. So,
All right.
Sigourney shows up, and she wants help. And who do they send? The rock star himself. And man, does he fucking ham it up so good in the house. He's fucking clueless.
Yeah. Even that little trinket he brings in, he's like squeezing a little ball. I
Mhm.
know that I don't know what the fuck it is, but he doesn't either.
Right. Yeah, I'm not convinced he is there on official business. Like he's there to flirt. He wants to smash.
Oh, absolutely. Like
Mhm.
he definitely comes off as like, all right, I had this great idea, but now the money's short. I'm just going to try to bang. Is that
Mhm.
cool? All right.
Might as well get something out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he starts
exactly.
poking around. He's like, obviously he looks into the fridge just to see if there just happens to be a portal to a new dimension in there. There isn't, unfortunately.
There's only a portal to diabetes.
So much junk food.
I like how he does that classic, you break her down a little bit, and then you give her a compliment.
Yeah, it's like that compliment sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're talking about negging.
Is that like an actual term? I'm gonna have to like
Yep.
Urban Dictionary that.
Yep,
Watch
negging.
me just find something gross.
Not pegging, negging.
But his nonchalantness is just so palatable. And like he's in the kitchen and he's like looking around. Dude didn't even turn the lights on, by the way, when he walked in. And he just like picks up an egg whole. And he just like throws it right back down. He's like, nothing spooky here, I guess.
Yeah, and she sums him up pretty well. He's like, you don't act like a scientist or like a game show host, and that's spot on.
Yes.
It sets him off too. And he's like, you know what? I see a girl like you, and all you have is work. And I'm like, hey, she's got the same problem I do. And she's just like, yeah, this isn't even cute. You need to leave.
Yeah, you need to leave, and he's just like, I'm madly in love with you. No, you
He's just-
really need to leave.
You're the
He's-
first woman to ever see through my bullshit.
No, he's just trying to like every which way to shoot a shot. He's like trying like every textbook thing he's got. He's like, all right, it didn't work. Guess I'm outie.
He's basically dumping out the toy box.
Yeah.
And he's still flirting as she's literally pushing his face out the door. Like, take a hint. Or maybe not. I mean, everything ends up good for him in the end, I guess. So maybe don't take a hint. Maybe keep pursuing, even when she says no.
School of Sean Connery.
He's like, have you heard our catchphrase? It makes you feel good.
Oh.
But yeah, like Bateman leaves with his tail between his legs. He's like, ah, shucks, whatever. He gets back to the firehouse. He's like, all right, fellas, she turned me down, so I'm gonna need more money. So she wants to fuck me.
Yeah, I need some petty cash to maybe take her out to dinner. We don't want to lose this client. She's important.
Well, they're looking at the end of the petty cash, which is like some egg rolls and maybe a couple beers.
Yeah, it was just like some random Chinese food and whatever. But one thing I never really noticed before is like the movie kind of like sprinkles in like what they've been up to since I started this thing. And one thing that didn't really bug me before, but like it kind of surprised me is like it goes from like, okay, they start this business and they just have their shit. Like they walk into the Sedgwick
Mhm.
Hotel like with their proton packs and everything. But like on the table is like a half-built little neutrino wand, and there's like little bits and shit all over the place. Like they've been doing some work.
I want to say like it's just been Harold Ramis just like doing everything behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd are just sitting around drinking beer.
Maybe no, because you see Dan Aykroyd like full body jumped into like the hood of the Ecto-1 trying to get it fixed, and there's like this really interesting shot of like Sigourney Weaver coming into the firehouse, and you just see Dan's asteroid over there just like hanging out of the car.
All right.
Yeah.
But they do get a call, their first big call, like they're firefighters or something. They turn on the sirens and everything. We got to go. They're out to the hotel. You said the name of the hotel, but I don't remember it. But they're all suited up.
This is a moment, sir.
Yeah.
Better sit with respect.
And I love how like the movie doesn't even take that seriously at all. It's super lighthearted. It's like, they come in and say, hey, anybody see a ghost? And the owner of the hotel like fucking sneaks up on Bill Murray somehow.
Yeah, he even says like, hey, we want this to be discreet. He busts in, hey, anybody see a ghost? Hey, where's that ghost?
Before I get too far away from that, I want to bring back up when the Ecto-1 leaves the station. To me, this is such a fucking scene. You get this, it's the first real look at the Ecto-1, and it's all white with this red fucking trim, and it's got the Ghostbusters logo slapped on it, and a siren blaring, and it just sounds so fucking weird that it's always with me since a child. That wah.
Like, I know I love this movie to death. I have a proton pack that I built a few years ago on my wall right now.
It looks great, by the way.
Thank you. But I am 100% convinced the Ecto-1 is a joke. Because that fucking thing is goofy. It's such a cartoonish thing. Like, when they finally get it, like, put together, finished and everything, it's just the cartoony ambulance with a wonky siren. That's the joke. That has to be it,
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. But again, it's one of those nostalgia things. I had that as a child. I had, you could flip the hood up and there'd be like a little Slimer in there or something. I don't remember the details, but it's just something about that specific vehicle. It brings me a little bit of joy.
It sounds like I'm giving it like a hard time, but no, because I saw the Afterlife trailer and like the fucking Ecto-1 whips around the corner with the gunner seat and they start blasting. I was like, this is the best thing.
It's basically a Batmobile.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh man, it's stupid, but that's exactly what I want to fucking see.
I've been waiting years for this, god damn it. Go bust
Let's go bust some ghosts.
Yeah.
Let's go get basically Nathan Jr.'s ghost back.
Oh, what a sad turn for that boy.
Look,
So
the cushions took a toll.
So they send him up to the 12th floor, and one of the things that I noticed, they're going to take the elevator up. There's a guy waiting on that elevator, and he is in the lobby of a hotel smoking a cigar.
Hell yeah,
Man.
80s, baby.
The 80s were a time.
And he's another example of just like New Yorker. Like Janine, the receptionist, she's got that, hard edge to her, but like this guy's like, hey yo, you guys some fucking exterminators or something? You're weird.
Yeah. What kind of cockroaches is that? So big it bites your head off. Now fuck off.
Yeah, I love how they gave it right back to him. He's like, oh, I'll get the next one.
So they get up there and they're they're spooking around, not spooking, poking around the hallways looking for this ghost, this little ghoulie that's trying to wreck up the place, and they see him. Is this actual Slimer? Is this just like something that looks like, okay, this is real Slimer?
Yeah,
okay.
like they never name him in this movie. Like he doesn't have a name. I think it's
No.
actually like a byproduct of the TV show again.
Okay.
No, his name is his classification. We have ghosts, ghouls, gases, and slimers.
Yeah, but they only spot him after an accidental attempted murder. Like they just like the first thing that like catches their attention, they just blast away. Yeah. So anyway, they started blasting.
Absolutely. But when they do encounter this Slimer, I got a question. Why does he need to eat? We see him eating off like a room service cart, just like pouring food down his gullet. It's a ghost.
Eric,
What?
do you want to take this one?
Why does it need food?
I think they kind of explain it later on when they were just going around tossing ideas, eating some Cheez-Its, like what was happening in Dana's apartment. Like this could just be just a relic of like a past life or whatever. Like the guy was probably just some fat slob eating, and it's kind of like one of those repeating. I don't want to call them spirits because there's no real ghosts in this movie.
There's no real ghosts?
Well, no, like that's the best part about this movie, where like it's not straight science fiction. It's just like, oh, there's this wacky thing, but these Ghostbusters are going to use their own science to take care of business. You know, it's just like, I'm not going to defeat magic with magic. They're just like, I'm going to shoot the fuck out of this thing, and you're going to pay me $4,000 to haul it away.
I'm gonna zap him.
Yeah.
After they absolutely level everything in the fucking path.
Yeah, they end up in like a ballroom and they corner them, and man, they just fuck up this ballroom. This is pretty much all them. This isn't the ghost.
And this is one of the first moments in the movie where this movie juggles like really, really intense moments with lighthearted comedy. Because like they all realize like all this shit's untested. We're wearing unlicensed nuclear packs on our back, and we're really this close from like being vaporized off the face of the planet.
Oh yeah, one important thing: don't cross streams. What? Why not? It would be bad. Like it would rip a hole in the time-space continuum or some shit. We would all die. So just don't do it. Avoid it if you can.
Man, the layman's terms in this movie is great.
Yeah.
It's complete protonic reversal. What?
And that's bad. All right,
Yeah.
got it. Let's go to work.
Now, they catch the Slimer, and they've wrecked the ballroom. Already mentioned. But this is really cool because we get to see the original Pokeball. They take out this ghost
Yeah.
and they slide it under the Slimer, and he stomps on it. It opens up. They bring the Slimer down, and they even do a little bit of technical jargon to let you know how they keep the streams either really long or really short, because as they're bringing it in, he tells Bill Murray, hey, shorten your stream. I don't want you to burn my face off. And he goes, oh, okay. And then they suck the ghost in, and they've caught it.
I used to have one of those little things too. It was operated with like a little air pump thing.
Oh yeah, the little
Pretty
blue
cool.
one.
Yeah.
And all at the same time, like I guess the concierge or like whomever owns the hotel, he's just like hearing this ruckus, and it's comedy gold because he's out there nervous as shit. And you just hear crash, slam, boom, pow, just like every fucking little cutaway in Batman just pops up or whatever.
There's a chandelier that crashes to the ground. It's chaotic.
It's okay. The table broke its fall.
Good.
And they burst out of the room, and you know the came they saw, they kicked its ass, and it's such a fucking iconic cinematic moment, where they almost like pop their ghost busting cherry.
Yeah, absolutely. They are so hype. These boys just got their first win. They're on it.
And we are treated to a motherfucking Ghostbusters theme song montage.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. Like, how long has it been since like a movie has had like a theme song?
I think the last one was either Wicca Wild Wild West or maybe Men in Black.
I was thinking Wild Wild West.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be one since then, right?
Well, if it's Wild Wild West, then there's a reason why they stopped.
True.
Now, during this montage, did you guys get the end bit? I don't know why the fuck it's in there, but Dan Aykroyd gets ghost head, and then it cuts to all the other dudes getting their fucking ghosts busted.
Ugh,
I don't know. That's one of the things where you just can't go back on. Like that's clearly just like, all right. I get the joke. Cool, Dan. Next scene. All right.
Were
So,
they
like-
doing so they wouldn't bust them?
I think it was a dream he was having.
You think? It seemed pretty real to me.
Him too. He's like,
Yeah. But no, what I mostly took away from this montage was Larry King is there, and this is the mid 80s, and he still looks old as fuck. Also, a voice from my childhood, another voice from my childhood, Casey Kasem.
oh yeah. They're making the rounds. You know, they hit the presses. They're local celebs.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even more than local celebs. They're getting on Larry King and shit.
It shows them on the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah,
True.
they got the newspapers, the television, the magazines. They're all over the place. They're real celebrities right now.
And of course, like they get real busy, but like every time they're like on the news or like they got a crowd of people around, they're just like, you know, there's no job too big, but you know, there's no fee too big. You know, they're just charging what the fuck ever.
Yeah. Also, we need more people, so we should hire somebody. We're a little bit busy right now. Let's take I don't know, this motherfucker coming in for a job interview. He has no qualifications or anything, but he's a human.
Yeah. Like he is kind of the realist of the bunch. You know, it's like, hey, if there's a steady paycheck, they'll believe anything. Whatever.
Yeah, I do like that line. She's asking him like, "Do you believe in yada yada ghosts, ghouls, phantasms, spectral processions?" I don't know what he's saying. Like the Loch Ness monster, Bigfoot, Mothman 2, Electric Boogaloo. He's just like, For enough money, I believe whatever. I'm just in it for the paycheck.
He says it with the same conviction of just like taking a long drag off a cigarette and just, yep.
Which, that bit to me, it didn't land. It left me with questions because they're on the cover of Time magazine. They're clearly famous. They're clearly making money. And this guy just walks in, I don't know what y'all do, but I'll do it for money. They're like, you're hired. No one else wants to do this job that would make you incredibly famous.
Maybe, but it's probably a lot of work. Like Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray just like walked in from like another job and they're just like fucking haggard. And he's like, "Hey, you look bad." It's like, "I do." It's like, "Well, you look better."
Perhaps. A couple little exposition scenes where we learn a lot more about Zool and Gozer.
Yep. Who the fuck is Gozer?
Some Sumerian from back in the day, so on, so forth, whatever. This whole scene is just so like he can make whatever guy Sigourney Weaver's with is jealous.
Yeah, he shows up at like Sigourney. I didn't even remember this. Sigourney Weaver is like a musician, like in an orchestra. Is that right?
Yeah.
And he shows up there and is like, "Hey, I've got some information about your Zool problem." Turns out Zool, yeah, he's like a 4th century Hittite god, also worshipped by Sumerians and the Babylonians, and he's a big problem. He's also got this buddy named Goza. You don't want to mess with him.
That's her answer, though. She's like, play some music, I guess.
Yeah, he's got a pretty big oboe.
I can't say oboe. One thing I did notice, I don't know why, but like he walks up to her like dirty as fuck. Like he just has a jacket on, but I didn't realize he just had his like, I'll say ghost busting fatigues under there, and they're just all just disgusting.
His jumpsuit looks haggard, and he's just wearing a blaze orange coat over it.
Yeah.
I do like his confidence, though, because after the conversation, she's walking away with the other guy, but he lets it be known that he's the one that's going to be hitting that sooner or later.
That's that big dick energy.
Yeah. He just starts yelling at the guy, "I'm just a friend. Sorry I didn't get to meet you. I'll see you today."
Oh yeah, he was like half roasting him too. He's like, he's like, "Are you okay? You're looking a little pale."
Hey, maybe you come down, do some Ghostbusters. I don't know why I'm continuing this New York accent, even for Bill Murray. I don't know. Yeah, but the next thing we know, they're showing the new guy around, Winston, showing him the little storage unit for all the ghoulies, and a guy from the EPA shows up, conveniently enough, and he's just a dick. He's like, "Hey, this is environmentally bad, probably. We got to shut it down."
I mean, well, his name is Peck, so the joke's right there, folks.
But we also find out during this part that there's a real big Twinkie on our hands.
What about the Twinkie?
Basically, if normal spectral activity for New York City was the size of a Twinkie, basically lately we've got a Twinkie the size of like a blue whale. He didn't say that. Those are my words, not his, but seem pretty big.
And in, perfect Zetamore fashion, he's just like, it's a big fucking Twinkie, dude.
Big Twinkie.
Exactly. His lines and the way that he reacts to everything in this film and how he'll be in... Okay, there's bits where you'll see the Ghostbusters and it's clearly just the 3 of them, and then it'll switch to a front shot and then there's all 4.
They're just like an inclusion thing. He's like, oh yeah, he's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, he's there now.
I don't want to come off like, I'm giving him shit like as an actor or whatever. It's just feel like the character's only there in key spots just so they can like relay information to the audience, which I guess doesn't necessarily require him specifically.
Well, I think it does help that he is a normie, that he's like just like an everyday guy. That way they're not talking their techno babble across, 4 guys that all are scientists, like PhD candidates or whatever. You kind of need somebody that you can display some of that exposition for in layman's terms, because otherwise it wouldn't really make sense if they're just talking to one another, PhD candidate scientists with layman's terms,
No, I get you. And plus, like, no, you make a good point, because like if they try to do that with like Janine, she'd just be like, up yours. She wouldn't give a fuck.
Oh, whatever. You got another call.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a good impersonation.
Thank you. All right, so next thing we know, we got Zool breaking out of his cage. It's a grotesque, actually. It's a grotesque.
These are the servants of Zool breaking free.
Okay.
They go on to possess both Sigourney Weaver's character and Rick Moranis's.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. And one is specifically summoned to just piss on whatever party Rick Moranis is having.
And boy, oh boy, is it a fucking party.
Yeah, this was the night of Rick Moranis' party. Also, Dana has a date tonight with old Venkman finally.
Sounds just like an all-around night of celebration.
And speaking of celebrations, ooh, I'm gonna be celebrating. What I've got here today is from Sierra Nevada Brewing Company out of Chico, California, one of my favorite breweries in the world. This is their Celebration Fresh Hop IPA. Only comes around once a year, and I love it every time it does. This is a 6.8% alcohol by volume IPA. It's got a little bit of a darker tone to it than most IPAs, a little bit more malty character. You get a good little sweetness in the backbone, real floral hoppy aromas, nothing citrusy or anything like that at all. Very classic. This is a classic beer, but it does a really good job at balancing that malty sweetness with all of those green, fresh, floral, hoppy flavors too. I love it.
Well, as much as you love that drink, damn, Rick Moranis just loves celebrating his few years of being an accountant.
Is that what he's celebrating?
It's
I
so
thought it was just a
arbitrary.
party.
Yeah, I'm an accountant. I do people's taxes, so I just invite him over so we can just like have a shindig. And everybody just feels like they're reluctantly there.
Yeah, for sure. And he mentions that he doesn't invite his friends. He only invites his clients, so it can be like a tax write-off. That's smart.
I think it's also like a little cheeky way to just be like, yeah, this guy's a nerd. He doesn't have any friends.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure. He's got one now. Fucking the gatekeeper shows up and is like, I'm going to run through your walls.
All right, who brought the dog?
That's a big
Now,
dog.
Here's the question I have, Eric. Maybe you'll be able to answer it. The dog creature, the gatekeeper or whatever, he comes busting out. Everyone sees it. They're terrified of it. But then whenever it goes to possess Rick Moranis after chasing him through the streets and all that, all those people turn around and they don't see anything attacking him. Is it not visible when it doesn't want to be or something?
He could chalk it up to New Yorkers not giving a shit. You know, everybody's an asshole. That's the joke.
Yeah, definitely I went with the New Yorkers just like, oh, I don't care. Leave me alone. I've got to get to 4th and 17th by 6.
Yeah, to be honest, the only person that was legitimately affected by this whole thing was just like this poor old lady who just stepped out of her apartment before he got on the elevator.
Just briefly, I do have to mention the animation for this scene. I know it was 1984. It doesn't look great.
No. The puppet, I will go, that looks fine. But then they use the claymation stop motion.
Yeah.
That looks really rough.
Yeah, it's dated for sure. And like,
Yeah.
to the movie's credit, they use it as little as possible. Like, I try to feel like they got as little as they could to get the point across.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. This is where Venkman shows up to Sigourney Weaver's apartment for the date. You know, everything's been going on, so there's like holes in the walls of her apartment building. But he still shows up, you know, with flowers like a gentleman, as you do.
And I love how he just walks past this clear police line. And he's like, oh no. Anyways.
Yeah. And she answers the door looking like a member of the Bangles or something. I don't know. Definitely from an 80s music video. And you can tell something's a little bit off because all she's saying is, are you the keymaster?
And I love, like, after she slams the door on him, he's just like, oh. Oh.
I should have said yes.
I'll play along. Yeah. It's just role play.
It gets so weirdly sexual, but at the same time, Bill's just cracking jokes nonstop that it comes off even stranger than it would.
It's like awkward because it's almost as if she's in some sort of like a medical state. Like, I know she's possessed, but it's almost as if she's like, I don't know, got cancer or something, and he's just sitting there, but still, he's still like, you know, trying to keep the vibe high. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I guess like you could chalk it up to like him being like the psychologist or whatever. He's like, okay, you know, I totally want to just like fucking hit a home run, but like, something weird about all this.
Yeah, and she's trying to seduce him for sure. By she, I mean Zool in her body, and he's trying to pull back, like, you know, I do want this, but I also want to talk to Dana.
But unfortunately, there is no Dana, only Zool.
Through gritted teeth.
I set him up, you knock him down.
I love that moment where he just like kind of like, oh, you're possessed. All right, better call the fellas on this one.
Hey guys, I got a chick over here and she's flotating.
Flotating.
Flotatoes.
What's with this fucking Lord of the Rings thing?
So, meanwhile, you have a special drop off at the Ghostbuster house, and guess
Oh,
who it
yeah.
is? It's old Rick Moranis. He's been arrested for telling the police that they will perish in flame, and cops don't know what the fuck to do with his goofy's ass.
Yeah, but he is also the keymaster. So, like, how do the cops get away with doing that? Like, you would think, just take him to jail, or if nothing else, the drunk tank.
Well, they didn't want him. That's why they brought him here, because they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, but legally, like, I don't know.
It's totally legal, totally cool.
I guess so.
No one took an observation because as they're sitting around at the Ghostbuster station, Rick Moranis' character is just fiddling with stuff, and they're doing tests on him, and he ends up with a goddamn colander on his head with wires.
Mm-hmm.
He also has a very similar look in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, the APA guy shows up, police show up, they've got warrants and shit. They're going to shut the whole thing down. Shut down the high voltage containment, whatever. The grid keeps all the ghoulie guys inside.
They're essentially shutting off the fence at Jurassic Park.
Well, that's a good parallel, because like everybody's just like, no, that's a super bad idea. And even the guy that they got from the electric company, I don't know. And he's just like, I've been working 40 years. I've never seen nothing like that before. And it kind of scares me.
Yeah. I do think it's like when they do shut it off, I feel like everyone probably should have ran, because you don't know what's about to happen.
Man, what's brilliant about the scene is like, as the guy kind of creeps up on the fuse box or whatever to turn the main switch off, Egon was just like, just like pointing towards the stairs, and just kind of like slinking away slowly as possible.
We should leave.
It's gonna blow, and it does. Kablooey! We get a fucking Marvel movie cinematic universe nonsense Skybeam, and it shoots way up into the heavens, spraying out ghosts and ghoulies that slip and slide into every nook and cranny of New York, and we get zombie cabbies, Slimer's back, and dude, this next bit, they start playing this song, and they start doing basically like a quick montage of everything that's going on. They're clearly trying to progress the plot. Set to the music with the visual cues you're getting of the different creatures, of the different settings to this music, I started thinking, holy shit, this feels just like Labyrinth.
Yeah, it's very fantastical. And I harken back to what I said earlier. Like, this movie has like these weird like pivots where like, oh, lighthearted comedy, like, oh, this is kind of serious and like fantastic.
Well, we do have David Bowie show up here in just a little bit.
I was wondering who's going to be the first person to say it.
I have her down as Gozer Stardust.
There it is.
The words that I have written on paper is just Ziggy Stardust, but it's all the same idea. When we actually get to see her, she looks like David Bowie. But right at this point, the boys are all in jail. And for some reason, they get to have blueprints in there. And they realize, oh, this is strange. It turns out Dana's apartment is a portal to something.
And in any other movie, like, this amount of exposition would just be like a slog. But as they're like enthusiastically going over all this stuff, like everybody else in the same holding cell is just kind of like creeping over and just like, huh, you don't say. I thought that was Gozerian.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd just speaks as if he's talking to us. He's like, the architect of the building was actually a Gozer worshiper back in 1904. You know, he conducted rituals on the roof. That's why all of this shit is happening. All right, well, thanks. Looks like we got to go to the roof.
And they just tap on the bar. It's just like, Carl Winslow, sir, can you let us out?
Summon the Winslow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the mayor calls them in and is like, hey, we've got an issue. There are ghosts and shit.
A minor thing that I enjoy a lot is like, these guys are clearly the most grounded. Like, whether like they might be stereotypical New Yorkers or whatever, but you can clearly tell this mayor is trying everything. They have everybody. They have all these boards trying to figure out whatever. Catholic cardinal comes in just in case. You know.
Yeah. And he says the church has no official stance on, the spooky business, but I think it's a sign from God. If we're wrong, you can send us to jail. We'll go to jail peacefully. But if we're right, you get to save millions of people, and also we get to keep on being rock stars and shit.
His point was brilliant, and you could see the moment the gears turned perfectly in his head, which is a great just character moment. Because he's like, Lenny, you'd be saving millions of registered voters.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, like, all these like little light bulbs are going off around the room.
It's definitely a Hans Booby kind of moment.
And then boom, the Busters have like this full-fledged support of not only the city officials, but they have like the National Guard. It's basically the reversed end of the Blues Brothers.
Dude, yes, I wrote that. It feels so fucking Blues Brothers, and I want to know if that's just Dan Aykroyd doing a little nod.
I didn't get any Blues Brothers, but I've also only ever seen it once, and I didn't really like it all that much, so, that's just me.
Their escort parade is cut short, though, because everyone's like, you get them, the guys who bust them ghosts, but they get followed by the ground.
Immediately. And that moment I realized, like, these fellas kind of threw this all together just out of spite, because some dickhead at a college threw them out, and now there's a car sideways.
That's true. Yeah, and the ground just tries to start sucking up one of those cop cars. It's like, man, if you would have just let us keep the grant, all of this would have been fine. Right? No, it wouldn't have. No.
Well, I mean, it'd have been much different, but I just feel like the reaction on the reaction on Dan Aykroyd's face after they crawled out of this hole just made them realize like how much deep shit they were in. It's like, oh wait, we're rock stars, but like we have to do something now.
Yeah, we have to do like a work. Also, this building up there starting to look kind of like Mortal Kombat, and that bothers me. I think it has begun.
The only thing that has begun are the fucking stairs.
Oh yeah, they got to go up like 25 flights of stairs or something, don't they? This is like a full-on high-rise, and they don't want to use elevators.
The shot they make of it is really fucking cool because it shows them going up where they say they're at 19, because Bill Murray says when they get to 20, I'm throwing up. But they pan up, and it just goes up in the darkness. It goes on.
Just forever, yeah.
This scene had me laugh out loud. They arrive to see Ripley and Rick Moranis standing on this altar after coitus. And
is that what they were doing?
Yeah.
Ah, gross.
And man, oh man, they start crunking so hard.
Crunking? Did you use the word crunking?
What do you say to your actors? Okay, so this is the part where you're standing on these pedestals and you're struck by lightning. Action.
And then this is when Ziggy Stardust shows up. Are you a god? No. Then die.
Okay. That's a brush over because she asked that question. Dan Aykroyd gives a hard look to Bill Murray, and he gives the okay. He's like, just, you got to say yes, and we'll take care of it. And he just looks back, and his reservation was just like, no, like a child.
If someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
And he leaves the frame. He's like legitimately pissed.
Yeah.
Now they're on the offensive, and they go full string power, and they're not taking any prisoners by aiming at her flat top.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is what we think is the boss fight, and it really kind of is the boss fight, right?
Well, I mean, like, there was boss battle music, but it wasn't, like, super pounding or anything, and they think they dispatch her pretty quickly. Like, huh, that was easy, damn, dude, we earned this, that kind of thing. And then, unfortunately, the narrator had other plans.
Not did the narrator have other plans, but the guy that was supposed to be shaking the shaky cam.
Yeah, evidently they were supposed to. I didn't really understand this. They were supposed to choose the form of their destructor by thinking about it. All right, that's all right.
I guess it's supposed to be like, a bit of a catch-22, just like, whatever you think of, no matter how insignificant, well, that's just going to kill you. Almost like a Wishmaster kind of thing.
Don't think of titties. Don't think of titties. Don't think of titties.
What else is soft? Marshmallows are pretty good.
Oh, fuck. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, thanks to old Dan Aykroyd.
And, like, man, I know it's iconic. Stay Puft, you find it on all the merchandise or whatever, but the joke still lands. It's absurd.
A Godzilla-sized marshmallow stomping through town it then turns to attack the building they're on. They fucking light it up with the proton packs, creating a living mountain of napalm.
100%.
If that's what you want to call it. I don't know. Somebody just needs to go get like some graham crackers and chocolate or something.
It's so hazardous. Like, even though you could say he deserves it, you got old Walter Peck down there immediately drenched in just like a truck ton of marshmallow. Like, he's dead. The man's dead.
Drowned in marshmallow. Like, where does that rank on like the ways that you would want to die? Is that high or low for you?
I don't know. I usually rank it above or below that guy that farted himself to death on 1,000 Ways to Die.
Forgot about that show.
The amount of marshmallow cream they dump on that man, if they would have doubled that, it would have been as much blood as they used in Dracula Dead and Loving It.
I just...
So, do we know what that was actually made of? Is that actual marshmallow cream that they used?
No, it's shaving foam.
Just shaving foam? It looks so thick and sweet, though.
Just drop frothy load all over from my plums.
Ooh.
I'll see.
All right, so this time they cross streams, right? That's what they were supposed to do, was cross streams?
I mean, I guess, like, realistically, the movie logic is just, like, kind of happenstance. He's like, Egon goes like, you know what? The door swings both ways. If we cross our streams, sure, we could be vaporized, but also there's a chance that they could be vaporized. You know, almost like a supernatural Uno reverse card.
No,
And there's certainly a chance that we won't be vaporized. It's a small chance, but there's a chance.
Here's the question. They fire with the cross streams, and they cause basically the entire top of that building to be a mini nuclear explosion.
Yeah,
It's
that
huge.
building's fucked.
It destroys the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It closes the portal. It douses the surrounding area in flaming marshmallow. But then it cuts to them, and they're all completely fine, other than the fact that they are marshmallow. Now, did the marshmallow somehow, by Dan Aykroyd's pure heart, thinking of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, in the end, did this destroyer save them?
No.
What?
I don't know.
Detector test determined that was a lie.
Well, you see Bill Murray come out, and he's barely got any on him. Everybody else is just covered. Bill Murray, like, he's got a little bit maybe in his hair, some drooping over his backpack, but he's good.
I thought that was either the joke or him just be like, I don't want that shit on me.
Yes, I feel like it was him not wanting it on him, but it also worked for the scene, and it would have been just a touch better had he went up and acknowledged that he was clean and looked at one of the kids and be like, oh, you have a little schmutz on you, and just rub some off their cheek.
He's got like Dan Aykroyd so covered that like his face just looks like Finn from Adventure Time, just like surrounded by white, just his face showing.
So they end up digging Ripley out of the corpse of this dog thing, and they get Rick Moranis out, and they have this little reconvening of everyone, like, hey guys, we all made it, no one got hurt, everything's okay in the end.
By the way, we need a brain sample if that's okay.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
just like, oh, yeah, that's fine.
He's just happy to have friends.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it. That's they saved the day. Everybody's okay except for the people who drowned or got burned by marshmallow and the ground crumbled and somebody must have fallen in.
And, like, think about all those folks with diabetes. That's a lot of sugar.
Oh, man.
So, you guys, what'd you think?
Well, I'm gonna lay it on the line. This movie's not perfect, but it's one of the most entertaining flicks ever made. This is genuinely funny, well-crafted, just great all around. Like you mentioned earlier, it's infinitely rewatchable. There's everything from just a casual viewer to someone who wants to dig in and just like learn every detail about whatever wacky thing that they cooked up for this movie. There's just something for everybody. And this is absolutely an American classic.
100% on board with that. The best way I can put it is it's 37 years old at this point in time, and it still works. It still lands. The jokes are still funny. The acting is still good. I have no complaints with this.
Yeah, I stand by my statement of the best part about it being that it is so rewatchable. Like, there's jokes all through it. There's enough action all through it to where you're never bored. You're constantly entertained. Like you said, it's got its issues. It's not one of my favorite movies ever or anything, but it's still super entertaining all the way through. I think it's a great start to what probably should have been a much bigger franchise than it was.
Well, there you have it. That was Ghostbusters. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the show, leave in that comment section below.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Be sure to hit the little bell icon down there too, so you don't miss what we got brewing up next.
Get out there and follow us on social media. We got that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we're on YouTube. Thanks to the Anchor app, we're on all sorts of other shit. So get out there, give us a listen, and if you don't, we'll come and give you a Slimer. Take that as you will.
I know I will.
Ew. Feels so funky.